We'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, I don't know if you have seen this mold before. I got it off of Temu. I'm gonna see if I can find it on Amazon. At this point in doing my voiceover, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Anyway, it is this really cute snowman, snow woman campfire on a little hill type dealy, and it is absolutely freaking adorable. Like, I love it. So, what I want to do is first, I am going to dust the campfire. I'm going to dust the little snow people. So, I need to be more. I'm not dusting the entire thing. The only part of the snow people that I'm dusting are the hats, scarves, and gloves. I figure they're white, so I don't need to dust the rest of them. So that's all I'm doing now. I do want to attempt to kind of haphazardly throw some of that unicorn crushed crystal in there just to see how that kind of works in there, because I'm not going to add anything into the resin as far as glitter or the crushed crystal or anything like that. I'm just doing straight white epoxy. So I don't know. I want the sparkle kind of like snow. I don't know. We're going to see how it works. Anyway, at this point, I'm going to bounce off. You've seen me dust a million and one times, especially in the last couple of videos. So I will be back when we are ready for the resin.
Two snow friends in the snowy white, red and green, they're dressed up right. By a campfire's glowing light, waiting for Santa through the night. Hats and scarves all knit with care, gloves to keep their icy hands fair. Fire crackles in the frosty air, dreams of gifts they both will share. Santa's coming down the lane, bringing joy like a sweet refrain. Snowflakes dance in a crystal chain, merry moments that remain. Stars above and moon so bright, snowy duo in pure delight. Whispers of the magic night, wonder fills the silent sight. Red and green in winter's hold, stories of the nights retold. Gifts of warmth more precious than gold, waiting for dreams to unfold. Santa's coming down the lane, bringing joy like a sweet refrain. Snowflakes dance in a crystal chain, merry moments that remain. Stars above and moon so bright, snowy duo in pure delight. Whispers of the magic night, wonder fills the silent sight. Red and green in winter's hold, stories of the nights retold. Gifts of warmth more precious than gold, waiting for dreams to unfold.
Alright, well, I'm sure you saw what a mess I made trying to flip them back the right way in. And this is where I'm just going in with that unicorn crushed crystal. Now, we are using a combination right now of some deep pour resin, because these are kind of wide, chunky molds. And then I'm going to also use some of the Let's Resin white epoxy resin for the more shallow mold right here. So that's what this is. This is the white epoxy resin, and I'm just going to pour this in. Now, I did also add some of that Unicone crushed crystal to this mold as well. Pouring that in. This is done. We're going to let this cure and do its thing. Hit it with the heat gun real quick and set this baby off to the side to cure. Okay. Now, because I only need a little bit of this, I'm just using that deep pour. I don't feel like mixing up regular epoxy for this. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of Let's Resin orange alcohol ink to it, and I am just going to put a little bit of this in here. Now, this is the campfire, and I did dust it with just regular mica powders, and I'm hoping that it's going to kind of show through. Now, I do realize that because I dusted it with regular mica powders, obviously we're not going to get the same effect that we're going to get as far as with the chrome powders that I dusted these guys with, or chameleon powders or anything like that, because I am going clear in the back. Essentially, I realize it's orange, but it's clear, it's translucent. It's not going to do a whole lot. But I want that orange to show through so that it looks like there is an actual fire burning, because we're going to do something with it later on. And I did mix up some Rolio white pigment paste into the deep pour resin for this. Now, I do not know how much these are going to take, and I'm going to be real with you guys. These are those super, super squishy, the ones that are like candle molds maybe, that like stretch really, really far. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little concerned that if I filled them up the entire way that they were gonna tip over. So I did not. I filled them up about 3/4 of the way, and then I was done. So I did let them. This is actually 2 days later. And I mixed up some normal Let's Resin epoxy, adding some of that Rolio white pigment paste again, and now I'm going to finish filling these guys up. I really was worried that they are going to tip over and spill, so it's fine. It'll be fine. Now, here's my first mistake of this. Actually, no, that would be my second mistake of this entire thing. The first mistake you'll see later on. You've kind of already seen it, but you'll see it more in detail later on. I forgot what I was doing with this because it has been so many days at this point that I forgot whether or not I wanted to go clear or if I was supposed to be doing white at this part. And then I realized that I'm putting lights under here. Like, I really want it to glow, and that you're probably not going to be able to see the lights if I put an opaque color under there. So I started pouring in it, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm putting lights. I probably don't want that in here. So then I had to very carefully kind of get most of the white out. I wasn't super worried about a little bit, because if I pour clear in underneath of it, like, it's not going to be so bad. It's not going to, like, not cause the light to shine through. It'll be fine. Honestly, it probably would have been fine if I left that little bit in there, because it still would have been very, very translucent and that light would have shown through. But I didn't want to take any chances, so yeah, there's that. And I just filled up these molds the rest of the way. Now I don't have to worry about them tipping over, because they are sturdy. Okay, so now I remixed up some more resin and poured it into this campfire mold, and I'm just kind of moving it around because at this point I was pretty irritated with myself, and the fact that I had to mix up more resin because I completely just forgot what I was supposed to be doing and mixed it up way too fast, so I incorporated a lot of bubbles. It's a good thing it's Let's Resin. I don't really need to worry about them staying in there. And I hit it with the heat gun really good a couple of times, moved it all around so that it's going to get into all of those details of the mold. And I'm going to hit it again real quick and set it off to the side, let it continue to finish curing. Okay, so now it is another 24 hours later. It is time to demold this. Now, off camera, I had some of that white left over, and I decided that it was a good idea to fill up this mold more. Why? I don't know, but I did, and because I did, I overpoured it, and now I have a mess to clean, so that's fantastic. But it's fine. It'll be fine. We're just gonna get some little clipper things and clip it off. And it is time to, do you see how this is that mold that's like really, you can really like stretch it? So campfire turned out nice. Now it is pretty transparent in areas that I don't necessarily want it to be transparent, but that's okay. Now let's look at the snowman. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried, especially when I see the bottom and I see the red on the bottom. Because I thought that when I flipped it inside out, I fixed all of the areas where the red went, and I did not. So now my snowmen look like they have sunburns, and that's a problem. Because I want them to actually look like snowmen. And not sunburnt snowmen, because that's not what I want. So now I have to fix this. Now, here's another issue that I'm up against. You guys all know I'm in the process of moving, right? And I have begun packing. I'm probably about not quite 3/4 of the way packed up with my supplies and stuff, thinking, all right, I'm leaving this stuff up for the videos that I'm making kind of in the process when I have a little bit of time here and there. But I'm not planning on painting. Like, I wasn't supposed to paint. This was not supposed to get painted. At all. Not at all. It's supposed to come out just perfectly fine. I wasn't supposed to do it. So I packed up all of my acrylic paints. With the exception of white. I was like, well, I did pack the white, and then I was like, maybe I should just leave the white out. Just in case I need it for something, or I decide that I want to use it for something. So I left the white out. Thank God, because that would have just been so much worse if I had not left it out. My God. But all of my other colors are all packed away. Like the the boxes of colors I have are all gone. So now we're going to have to get a little creative. So we're going to do that here in a bit. And honestly, it's my saving grace for this video is you guys. One of you had, it's been a few videos, well, it's been quite a few videos back actually, had mentioned something to me about mixing your mica colors in with your paints. And it got me thinking, because honestly, like, I need to fix up the campfire a little bit more. Like, the white is fine for the snow, but I need to make these rocks that go around the campfire. The wood is okay. It's a little translucent, but it'll be okay. It'll be fine. It's the rocks that I need something to happen with. And you had said something about mixing it in. So I thought, okay, well, I can do that, and I can form, a gray or whatever, and we can kind of do something with the rocks around here. And it makes the whole project, quite honestly. So I don't remember who it was. It was so many videos back, and I get so many comments to remember specific people. I apologize. But anyway, you saved this video in a lot of ways. So thank you to that person. But at this point, for the next little bit, I'm just going to bounce off. I'm going to be back when we're kind of ready to tie everything in together and show you this piece. But yeah, I will be back on the flip side.
Children playing games of holiday cheer. Laughter echoes, love is near. Dad tells stories of a Christmas past. Time flies, the memories last. Fireplace crackles, warm embrace. Smiles lighting up every face. Holiday magic fills the air. Love and laughter everywhere. Family gathered, hearts so bright. Shining like.
Okay, so just a real quick interjection here. I decided that since I had to paint them, after I let the paint dry, they've lost their sparkle, kind of like the snow has a sparkle. So I just took some of my gloss varnish, some super fine crystal diamonds, glitter, mixed it together, and I am going to put it all over these guys, all over where the snow is, and then also on the other piece. And on that note, I'm gonna leave again and let you just watch the process, and I'll be back.
Joy will flow, candles flicker all aglow, happiness in every show. Holiday magic fills the air, love and laughter everywhere. Family gathered, hearts so bright, shining like the stars tonight. Cocoa cups and mistletoe, silent nights where joy will flow, candles flicker all aglow, happiness in every show.
Okay, yes, I know there's a lot of in and out of me jumping, but this is the point where I am going to mix the mica powder into the white acrylic paint just to kind of get that kind of gray stone kind of color. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did try to mix a brown in with the white. It didn't work. So it doesn't necessarily work with every color. Like, it just turned a weird gray, which was kind of weird. So you can mix it. Now, had I had another color of acrylic paint and mixed brown in with it, I'm sure I could have got something different. Maybe a different shade of brown, a different something. White didn't work for that, but you know, it was worth a shot. Anyway, so as I go through this painting process, I'm going to bounce off again. Now, I will point out the fact that because I mixed in the mica powder with it, that it does give a slightly different, it's not, all right, if you're looking at paint, like say you're painting a wall, right? And you have, like in your house, and you have the flat, you have a semi-gloss, you have, what is it, high gloss, and you have a satin look, right? Different variations. It gives you more of maybe like a satin type look as opposed to the flat look that acrylic paint gives you, if that makes sense. So it does give you a different look on your painted piece than just a straight acrylic paint. So that mica powder does change the look of your acrylic paint, just for those of you who haven't tried, so that you get an idea of the difference that mica powder added into acrylic paint gives the finishing touches of it. It does add sort of like a sheen to it. Okay, on that note, I'm going to bounce off. I will be back in another couple of minutes to tell you what I'm going to do next, so that you know what I'm doing and you're not like, what is she doing? Oh, I'll be back.
Tiny hands in frosty air, building dreams from snow we share. Button's eyes and carrot nose, magic in the world it shows.
Woolen hats and scarves we bind, laughter follows winter wind. Twig arms raise from snowy land, we create with wonder's hand. Snowman dances in delight, children's hearts all pure and bright. Sleigh lights glide on fluffy white.
I told you it wouldn't be long. Okay, so I didn't quite have enough kind of orangey, fiery look that I wanted, so I decided that I'm gonna take some of that gloss varnish and a little bit of the Let's Resin Orange alcohol ink, mix them together, and then there's little spots in between where the logs are on the fire, and I'm going to go in between those areas, and I am going to touch up that orange, because if you remember, I did add orange resin, like the top part of where my fire is, right? But I had mica powder dusted on it, and then I wiped stuff off, and then I did all kinds of dumb stuff to it. So there are areas that were not covered right. I want it to glow orange. I want it to look like there's fire in between those logs that's coming out. And then I want to add a little bit more orange to the very top of where that, not coals, but like the fire embers, I guess, whatever, are burning in the top bit too. So that's all I'm going to do for this. And that gloss varnish is just going to hold that orange in place and kind of dry on there, and it'll just be there. So I won't have any problems. And this way, when my lights glow up, it'll glow that orange and it'll look like a fire coming through, and I won't have spots missing, hopefully, as long as I get it all covered properly, where there's just the white light coming through, if that makes sense. And that's honestly the only other thing that I will do to this. And realistically speaking, it probably wouldn't be there if I'm burning a fire, is that I have a little bit of the white glitter that I did for the snowmen left with that gloss varnish glitter mix. I am going to go over just the tips of these stones and add a little bit of that, like if there is snow settled on them. Again, I understand realistically, if a fire was burning, they would be melted. But realistically speaking, if a fire was burning, so would the snowmen. So there's that. We are not necessarily, and realistically speaking, snowmen wouldn't even be here. So we are not living in a realistic world right now. We are living in my world right now, and my world says that these stones have snow on them, and it'll be fine. I did decide that since I do not have black paint to paint these eyeballs with, since I had to go over everything, I am going the rhinestone route. There were no spots on there for buttons for like down on the lower abdomen of these guys. I just decided that I'm going to add them. So I just got my diamond glaze and put a couple dots on and put them on there just to do it. Now, they do have these weird little protruding noses that have holes in them, which I don't quite understand. I had thought about putting something on there. I don't have orange rhinestones, so that is not really something that I can do, but it's fine. It'll be fine. All right, so I did let these guys dry for a full 24 hours to make sure that all that gloss varnish was completely dry on there. Now it's time to get our fairy lights kind of set up and ready to go. Now, these fairy lights are too long, so I did snip them down. I get it, it's a waste of lights, a waste of a lot of lights, quite honestly, but I don't have any shorter lights, and I don't need this many. Like, it's way, way, way too many. So I cut them probably about a half, and I'm just wrapping them around 2 fingers, and then with the lead that's left, I'm just gonna kind of wrap it around it just to hold them in place so they don't start bowing out. Now, I did, at first, I kind of put the battery pack in the back. Now, you could glue it in place. I don't know if I necessarily recommend that, because, quite honestly, this is the front of it, right? So the battery pack needs to go behind the snowman, which is where I have it now. So I did have to fool around with it a little bit. But just so that you can change it later on, I don't know if I would necessarily glue it. I would just kind of have it there. You can pretty much hide it. I mean, I have it hidden. You can't really see it at all this way. So I think it looks great. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you guys on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
You lift me to